Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Paul. Hopefully you're having an amazing day. I'm going to kick this video off with some very impressive results for AMD's Strix Point Halo APU, as a time spy score has leaked online that basically puts this thing at almost the same level as a desktop RTX 4060 Ti, and it absolutely decimates most of NVIDIA's mid-range laptop solutions as well, at least the RTX 40s. We'll have to wait and see how the RTX 50s managed to perform. But, so I want to give credit to all the bots on Twitter. We see a time spy score of 12,516 and a CPU score of 15,675. The Twitter account Thomas on, X, should I say, has managed to compile a really nice table of various GPUs, not just NVIDIA, but also AMD across both desktop and laptops. And here, of course, the Strix Point Halo APU is scoring 12,516, and that, of course, puts it at 100%, as it's the baseline. Meanwhile, the Intel B580, I'm going to round up the figures, is 118%. The RTX 4060 Ti is 108%. The 4060 Vanilla is 85%, and those are the desktop GPUs. But things get much more intriguing if we compare it against the 4070 notebook. And that is essentially a tiny bit slower. Now, obviously, there is some variance run to run, but this is essentially exactly the same performance as an RTX 4070. If memory serves, there were a lot of rumors that that was the target performance, actually, for Strix Point. So, well, yeah, that would actually be quite impressive. And meanwhile, if we would compare this against some various AMD GPUs, for example, the 7700S, well, there is no real comparison. It basically just spanks it, and it's essentially on par with an RX 6700 XT for the desktop, and that's really impressive. And this is, of course, utilizing 40 compute units. Now, it's going to be very interesting to see what the power configuration is. If memory serves, is 120 watt part. At the end of the day, obviously, NVIDIA will be releasing its next generation GPUs for both desktop and laptop, so it's not like the RTX 5070 will be the same performance as this. Obviously, it's probably going to be more like a 5060 Ti or something like that. But I think, once again, that is really impressive for an APU. And I think another really important thing, guys, to remember is that future AMD APUs, and this is like a dumb thing to say, just hear me out, because it's really easy to be like, well, that's dumb, that's obvious, but AMD's future products will be better. And the reason I say that isn't just like, well, better GPU technology. We should be seeing some significant improvements in the future with things like cache. And the rumor is, anyway, with RDNA 5 potentially, or should I say UDNA Zen 6 onwards, we're going to see a much larger memory attached last level, basically larger caches. And it's going to be very interesting, basically, to see what happens. Again, this is not AMD designing an APU which is going to be competing against, well, let's just hypothetically say the 6090 at that point. For the desktop, but it is to say that they can release APUs that basically make it meaningless for them to really push discrete GPUs for the low to mid tier on laptops. So, I'm sure they'll probably release some just for the sake of it, but it's going to be very interesting going forward, I think, for AMD. I personally think that this is a really good result. At the end of the day, one, is it true? Is it a legit result? That's a big thing. I personally think it probably is, but again, we'll have to wait and see. And the second point is, this is only a synthetic benchmark. So again, how well is it going to perform in the real world in tons of different games, whether that's Cyberpunk or Resident Evil or what have you. Anyway, speaking of NVIDIA and the RTX 50 series, a couple of quick updates. The first of which, Galax. So the company have essentially officially confirmed, in other words, off the record confirmed, leaks of a new box. And this is for an RTX 5080. Now, I'm just mentioning this real brief because, unfortunately, the image quality, I mean, you've heard of potato quality. This is mashed potato quality. It's so bad. You can't really make out any fine details of the text whatsoever. Interestingly, it seems that this is identical in most of the icons anyway at the back of the box to the RTX 4080 series. However, again, because the details are so you can't read really any of the text, so you can't make out specifications or any of that stuff. So whether or not this means that features like neural rendering will not be present on these cards, at least at launch, it's pretty much impossible to say. Again, there were those rumors from other companies that neural rendering will be there, but we'll have to wait and see on this. There's not a huge amount I can say. I just wanted to cover this because a couple of folks did message me about this. The second point, again, credit to videocards.com, the HP Omen Max 16 laptops specs have been somewhat confirmed, and basically this features an RTX 5080 and a Core Ultra 9 275HX. So obviously this is a 16-inch screen with the aforementioned processor, 32GB of DDR5 5600 memory, which is pretty much what you would expect for a laptop like this, 1TB of SSD. I'm assuming that can probably be upgradable, you know, maybe when you're purchasing the laptop, maybe there's an option. I don't know, 1TB, what do you guys think? Do you think 1TB for a laptop like this is enough? I personally think it's a bit, let's just use the word okay, I don't want to use that word, that's a bit harsh. Let's use the word a bit, let's just say not ideal. That's just my personal opinion. I think it's a little, I think it's a little measly, but yeah, I think 2TB is probably better, but obviously there has to be some cost reduction somewhere or another. And also an RTX 5080. Unfortunately, it doesn't specify the configuration of the GPU. All we know is it's a 16GB card. The rumour is that this features 8,192 CUDA cores, and again, 16GB of GDDR7 memory, but we'll have to wait and see. Because unfortunately the HP specifications sheet does not state this information. It does, however, give you the dimensions of the laptop. It looks pretty nice. It's going to weigh around 6 pounds, which is, it's not exactly a sheet of paper in your bag, but it's not too bad as laptops go. So yeah, anyway guys, let me know what your thoughts and opinions of this are, particularly when it comes to Sarlacc. With that said, take care of yourselves, have an amazing day. Bye for now.